Hi, everyone. My name is Michael Coker, and I am a father myself. Me and my wife, we raise children. And so, one of the biggest priorities to me is making Mulberry a great place to raise a family. Today, we have a topic that's very close to my heart, and that's raising a family in Mulberry. And so I'm going to talk about some various things that are going on in Mulberry, some different discussions that we're having to continue to make Mulberry a great place to raise your family. And so I would be remiss if I didn't start by talking first about the schools that we have in Mulberry. We have two phenomenal high schools within our city limits, both Mill Creek High School and Seckinger High School. We also have a great high school that some of our residents' children go to, which is Dept High School. So we are an interesting and unique city in that we have three different high schools that our children attend here in Mulberry. And so one of the catalysts or the drivers basically for starting the city of Mulberry was really the fact that overcrowding in the schools had become somewhat of a major problem. Particularly in the Mill Creek district. In my district is Mill Creek High School and also Duncan Creek Elementary. Duncan Creek Elementary has a substantial amount of trailers that are behind the schools. And so the issue is that when the county was reviewing rezonings or development, they were continuing to approve new neighborhoods, new developments, but their school board was not putting any additional investment in this area for the schools. And so we have Duncan Creek Elementary, which really is not that old of a school, that now has a significant number of children learning in trailers in the back of the school because they just did not have the room for them. And so many of our residents realized this and realized that concern and said, listen, we need more responsible growth, right? Mulberry's not anti-growth. We're not saying we're never going to approve another neighborhood in the future or additional housing. But the reality is that we need it to be done responsibly so we can make sure that the infrastructure, particularly with the school system, can keep up. That our children still maintain that high level of education that they've historically received in our area. And so that elementary school, among others, Ivy Creek's another one, where there was Mulberry's another one, Mulberry Elementary, where it seems like the numbers of students continues to grow without any really keep up in the infrastructure. And so that was one of the primary driving forces for the city was, hey, listen, we're gonna maintain that responsible growth to protect our kids. Because as I said, we continue to want people to stay and raise their children in Mulberry. I've chosen to do it. I grew up in what is the city of Mulberry, right? And I decided when my wife and I were selecting what house we wanted to buy, I selected to stay here and stay in my hometown. I had some people that were saying, oh, we're going to Jackson County, we're going to Hall County, we're moving. But the reality is I wanted to stay here in the town that I grew up in and continue to raise my family here as well. And so that was something that personally that was important to me. And so part of my commitment is to keep this a great place to raise your children. And so that is one of the primary goals, is to maintain responsible growth so that the schools can maintain the excellent reputation that they already have. The other thing that we've kind of had happening lately is a couple weeks ago there was a town hall to discuss a proposed park at Seckinger High School. And this is a project that our people are very passionate about, which I respect. I mean, this is what makes local government so great, is that people continue to fight for things and advocate for things and ultimately try to affect change. And at that meeting, I was there. I spoke. Majority Leader Chuck Efstration was there. Representative Sandy Donatucci was there. Representatives from Gwinnett County were there, as well as our Commissioner Matthew Holtkamp. And we all spoke about this idea that Seckinger needs its own park. And one of the complaints that Mr. Mark Johnson, who set this all up, who's a fantastic advocate for Seckinger High School, one of this discussion points that he brought up was that in I believe it was the 2020 plan for Gwinnett County Parks and Rec, he discussed that it stated that one of the primary needs of the county was to build a park for Seckinger, and how that has not happened, where they have not been able to have baseball teams, football teams, participate, youth football teams, youth baseball teams, softball teams in their own community park. And so that was in the plan, and that was a priority for the county. And then something happened, and then all of a sudden it wasn't. And so I stood up and I said, well, I am here. Mulberry does not have a Parks and Rec department, but my purpose for being here is to show you that you have our support at Mulberry, that we're here for you, that we're going to do whatever we can or is needed to be done to help you. Now, unfortunately, like I explained to the individuals at that meeting, Mulberry doesn't have a Parks and Rec department. We're taking on 3 services: planning and zoning, code enforcement, stormwater management, not Parks and Recreation. That will maintain or that will continue to be a Gwinnett County function. And so that's Gwinnett County's responsibility. But if Gwinnett County needs anything from us, needs to have any discussion, we're here for them. And I told everyone at that meeting, I thought it was very interesting. So at that Seckinger meeting, we had 3 out of the 5 Mulberry City Council members there. Those were individuals who ultimately, make the decisions as to what gets built in the city. So that's the first thing that you can look at and see that Mulberry is supportive of Seckinger, supportive of these kids to get their park. But I said even more than that, and this was not planned, but there were 3 Mulberry Planning Commission members there as well. Planning Commission members are the ones who review all the new applications for zonings, for variances, and make recommendations as to what gets built in the city limits. At that Seckinger meeting, we had 3 Mulberry Planning Commission members there as well. Again, committed to sending the message, to showing that Mulberry's here. We care about these kids. We want to get them that park. And so they were all there as well. So in addition to myself and the other 2 other council members, you had these Mulberry Planning Commission members there. So I think the message was sent loud and clear. Mulberry hears you. We're there, and we're willing to have a discussion or do whatever we need to do to make that a reality. You'll have to go back and watch the meeting about the discussions with Gwinnett County and things that were done to talk about the future of that park, because again, that is a Gwinnett County responsibility. But just know that as far as Mulberry goes, our children and raising our families in this community is an utmost priority and something that we are committed to doing. And that's important to us. We want to make sure that this community stays a place where, our children have a place to play, playgrounds, places to run. And so I'm committed to working with the county Parks and Rec Department to continue what I believe are some of the best parks in the state. I mean, Mulberry Park, which is, kind of our namesake in the city, I will stand that park up against any other park in Georgia and say that is one of the best parks that we have in this state. And as many of you know, my relationship or our relationship with Gwinnett County has not always been smooth waters. It's always, it's been a little rocky, to say the least, here at the start. But I'm going to look right in that camera and say we have some of the greatest parks in the entire state, and they are doing a phenomenal job. And so I hope that relationship will continue. I hope we can continue to make that park system great and get those children of Seckinger the parks that they deserve, because that's definitely a priority. But the other thing is we want to continue to design our city moving forward in such a way that it's friendly for families, that it's walkable, that there's spaces that families can congregate. And so you might have heard on a prior episode of my podcast, I talked a lot about the comprehensive plan that Mulberry's working on. So a comprehensive plan is basically a plan that says, hey, this is what we want Mulberry to look like in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever it may be. And kind of this is our vision. And I will tell you that one of the primary focuses of that has been to make spaces where people can go with their family, can congregate, and can continue to make this a spot where, kids can play, People can share an ice cream cone together and can continue to have that small town family feel. That's been something that's been very important to me. But more importantly, we need your feedback too. So if you are somebody who maybe you have some great ideas of how we can continue to make Mulberry a great place for families, we want to know those. We've had some suggestions already, such as different types of sidewalks, different trails that connect different areas. These are all things that we've talked about and ideas that have been bounced off with us. And these are all aspects that we want to hear from you. So as we continue to develop that comprehensive plan, that's something that I hope that you will continue to reach out to us, and we'll continue to have that focus on spaces where people can bring their families and join together. And so we want you to give us your feedback, give us your ideas. Let's have a conversation of what it takes to continue to make Mulberry just one of those best places to live and to raise your family. And so that's just a little bit about our commitment to maintaining Mulberry as a great place to continue to raise your family. And so if you have any other ideas or if you have any thoughts about that, we want to continue to keep Mulberry a safe place, a place where people can gather and can join together. And ultimately, we will continue to make Mulberry even better for the next generation. Because, as I stated, I was raised in the city of Mulberry. I grew up as a kid in the city of Mulberry. My children are going to grow up in the city of Mulberry. And I want my grandchildren to say, Mulberry is a great place to live, and I want to raise my family here. And so let's focus on passing on to the next generation an even better city than the one that we were given. So again, my name is Michael Coker. If you like receiving these updates about the city and learning more about Mulberry, I would encourage you to like and subscribe. I come out with these periodically and just continue to keep you updated on things that are going on, ideas that we may have, and really kind of give you a peek behind the curtain of what happens at City Hall. So thank you for listening. We'll see you later.